We are the Aluminum Falcon group for the Sustainable Doghouse Challenge. My name is Emily Tyndall.
And I'm Elizabeth Karasik.
So why should you choose our group? Well, we've got a few categories that we focus on for our design. First one is structure. We have a classic rectangular design and we use recycled wooden pallets to create it. For comfort, we can accommodate dogs of all sizes. It's a pretty big doghouse, and we used materials that are safe for dogs and that dogs are used to. For healthy, we have an open entrance for airflow, and we didn't use any paints or chemicals in our design, so nothing to worry there. And then for creativity, we have a simple but bold design with tennis balls covering the inside walls and a wooden garden box on top.
We knew we needed to make our doghouse sustainable, and at first it was a trick to figure out what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to use some recycled materials, but we needed to figure out which ones, what was safe for dogs, what was most appropriate for what we wanted to do. And we ended up using all recycled materials of wooden pallets, wooden planks, and tennis balls. And for another part of sustainability, we added a rooftop garden with a aluminum lined moat on top so that water can collect in the moat and you can use the rainwater collection to water your garden, which we think is a really nice addition and gives the doghouse an extra function. And here's our design process. Before we could design anything on paper, we needed to research what doghouses look like right now, what the sizes of them, what their function is, how they wear, what materials they're made out of. On the left, you can see some of our research for the sizing of a large doghouse, how elevated it is, what functions and what purposes this doghouse has, and what we could use in our doghouse to make it different. We also needed to think about what makes dogs happy and what they like in a doghouse and what attracts them to be comfortable in one and what's best for dogs.
So for our preliminary designs, we wanted to include a garden and tennis balls, but we weren't really sure how to accommodate these. So you can see on the top left, we were thinking of doing some like chutes with recycled 2 liters, where like the tennis balls can come out and the dogs can just play with them from the house. And then we also thought about like a dome idea. We were really trying to focus on using a lot of recycled materials at the very beginning. We also thought about doing like a DIY plastic bag like carpet on the inside, and then we realized that that wouldn't really work for the health of dogs because they might chew on that and that would not be good. And then for our final drawn design, we came up with what you can see on the left here. We used recycled materials such as wood pallets, tennis balls, and then blankets from a recycled fabric place. And then for innovative design, we have ventilation through the windows and the opening. And then we have rainwater collection in the moat for the garden, and the design is elevated.
We decided to use SketchUp to 3D model our design. This was my first time ever using SketchUp, and almost immediately I realized that our final drawn design would have to be modified a bit to make it more practical for me to model. On the left is my first attempt at our doghouse in SketchUp. It's not too bad, but you can see that the roofs are like 2-dimensional, and I wasn't able to really add on the tennis balls in this design, and I kind of just like drove myself to a dead end and ended up needing to start over. On the right is another attempt. As you can see, I just needed to carve out the inside and make the entrance for it. But after multiple days and multiple sessions of working with SketchUp, I was really able to nail the rooftop garden element of it. And for our final design, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was difficult to really get the hang of SketchUp. I needed to figure out what was the best way to start. Was it best to start with the roof design? Should I start with the tennis ball design on the sides? But eventually I got the hang of it. I'm really proud with how the final product of our model turned out. And I think it really does reflect our ideas that we had for the doghouse. A bit of reflection, we had so many ideas of what we wanted our doghouse to look like, what we wanted it to be, what we wanted it to do. And we realized how limiting an actual dog being in the doghouse was to our design. There was lots of materials we thought about using that we realized wouldn't really be safe for dogs, such as the knitted carpet at the bottom. It's also hard to remake a classic. We knew we couldn't be too crazy bold with our design because we wanted to build something that we really felt like we could have built in real life had we been given the chance. And it's hard to see how you can modify such a classic doghouse and make it sustainable and make it different and make it pop. And I think we did do a really good job with that with the tennis balls and the rooftop garden. Additionally, it's hard to master a design program in one day. It took multiple days and multiple trials and error for me to really understand SketchUp, but I'm really proud with what we were able to do. Thank you so much.